Yes, we'll continue our discussion on word formation. In this second part, we'll consider common methods of word formation. And these are five, as I mentioned before. We have translingual borrowing, alphabetism, acronymy, some Yoruba words that have been adopted from other languages, as we will see shown in the table below. A borrowed word is the word ara, and the source of that word is Arabic. It comes from the Arabic word arad, and it means thunder in Yoruba. Another borrowed word is shalanga. Shalanga is a word that is borrowed from Hausa, and the Hausa word is salga, and the meaning in Yoruba is latrine. Another Yoruba word that was borrowed from the French is shimi, and the French word is chemise. It's a type of underwear. Another borrowed word in Yoruba, another word the Yorubas borrowed from English is ekmeni. It means halfpenny. It's an old unit of money. Another Yoruba word that was borrowed is titi, and it means street in English. The meaning in Yoruba is tarred road. Another borrowed word is ugu in Yoruba. It comes from the Igbo word ugu. It's a type of vegetable. Now, it's not only in Yoruba that languages that words are borrowed. Even in a word like Hausa, the word lantiriki, which means electricity, was borrowed from the word electricity in English. Now let's start with the first word. We've considered translingual borrowing. We'll move on to alphabetism. Now, alphabetism is a method of word formation where the initial letters of a commonly used phrase come to stand for, or they represent the whole phrase, and they signify or mean what the whole phrase means. An example, for instance, of alphabetism, well, let me go on. In alphabetism, the resulting string is spelled out as if you are reciting the alphabet. You don't pronounce it, but you spell it out. The new word could be written in small letters. An example is HTTP, and it stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The word can occur in capital letters. You have IT, meaning information technology. The words can also be written together as in SOS, which means save our souls. The words can also be separated by periods. You have examples in AMU, atomic mass unit, or RPM, revolutions per minute, or AH, ampere hour. So these are examples of alphabetism. Again, we said it's a method of word formation where the initial letters of commonly used phrases come to stand for or represent. Now, I asked you to do some tasks on alphabetism. We'll just run through the tasks. AD there stands for Anno Domini. Anno Domini. SD stands for standard deviation. COD stands for cash on delivery. DC, direct current. AC, alternating current. VHF, very high frequency. PVC, polyvinyl chloride. FM, frequency modulation. GSM, global system for mobile communication. OCR, optical character recognition. HTML, hypertext markup language. SIM, or SIM, well, SIM should be, subscriber identity module. SG, specific gravity. DF, degree of freedom. CC, cubic centimeter. www, World Wide Web, aka also known as. Also known as. Okay. So let's look at acronymy. In acronymy, the same method of word formation also is put in place. But the difference is that the resulting string in astronomy, in acronymy, is pronounced as a word. Examples are UNESCO, and it stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Another is FUTA, stands for the Federal University of Technology, Akure. Another is radar, radio detection and ranging. Another is GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Yet another is ABLE, activity balance line evaluation. Note that acronymy and alphabetism can be jointly referred to as initialism, since their components are initial words. In your notebook, well, I asked you to work on the following acronymy. I'm sure you've done so. So let's go over the responses. Basic there means beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. COBOL means common business-oriented language. SAIL, the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. CAD there stands for Computer-Aided Design. SQUID there, Superconducting Quantum Interference Device. And LASER there stands for light amplification by the stimulated emission of radiation. So the basic difference between your acronyms and your acronymy and alphabetism is that the resulting string in an acronymy is pronounced, whereas it's not in your alphabetism. Let's move on to clipping and blending. Now, in this method of word formation, which is clipping and blending, some syllables of a word are cut off, that is, they are clipped, and the rest are joined together to form a new word. It is, of course, possible for clipping to take place without any blending. This clip is then called a short form of abbreviation. Like I said, clipping and blending, some syllables are cut off, and then the rest are joined together to form a new word. Now, it's possible to have a clip without a blend. In that case, what you have is an abbreviation. Now, take the word resistor. Resistor and thermal. Thermal and resistor. These are words that went through the operations of clipping and blending, and the resulting string from that is thermistor. So therm there comes from the first syllable in thermal. So therm there is added to zistor in resistor. Now the next word bit comes from binary digit. The B there comes from the B in binary, and then the last syllable in digit is added to it, so we have bit. Blogging. In blogging, we clip the B of web, and then we add it to login. Email comes from electronic mail. We clip off the E in electronic, and then add it to mail. That gives us email. Simulcast. In simulcast, you clip off the two syllables in simul, so you simult, and then you add it to the last syllable in broadcast. Fortran comes from formula translator. You clip off the first syllable in formula, for, and then you add it to the first syllable in translator. And then transistor comes from transmitter resistor. You clip off the first syllable in transmitter, so you have trans there, and then you add it to the two syllables in resistor, so it gives you resistor. So the first syllable in transmitter, and then the two ending syllables in resistor. And then hi-fi comes from high fidelity. High from the first syllable, high from high there, and the first, high, the first syllable in high, and then the F there, The phi there comes as the first syllable in fidelity. Okay. Now you can also use many clips and abbreviations like exam, lab, fan, phone in your informal interactions. You should, however, learn the ones that form part of the technical language of your discipline. Each discipline has clips and blends, and the advice is you learn the clips and blends and the abbreviated forms that occur in your formal communication in your different. Now let's move on to affixation. Affixation is a method of word formation where bound morphemes are added to free morphemes or already existing words. So a word that is already in existence is called a free morpheme. Now bound morphemes are also called affixes. Okay, your bound morphemes are morphemes that you add to free morphemes. So if you take a word like effect, if you add a bound morpheme to it, IVE becomes effective. Okay. Now affixes can be classified by their position in the word or by their grammatical function. Prefixes are placed before the base morpheme, while suffixes are placed after. Your prefix is an example of a bound morpheme that comes before the base morpheme, okay? And then the suffix comes after. In a word like ineffective, the IN there is a prefix that comes before the base morpheme. The base morpheme is effect. And then the suffix comes after. So that will be IVE. So in effect, ineffective, in the word ineffective, we have a prefix, we also have a suffix. And then the base morpheme effect is in the middle. Affixes can be classified by the grammatical function, which may be, and that may make them inflectional or derivational. I'll take them again. We said your bound morphemes are called affixes, right? And you classify affixes by the grammatical function they perform. And under these, they could be inflectional or derivational. Now let's look at inflectional affixes. Your inflectional affixes are usually suffixes, that is the bound morpheme that comes after the existing word. And they do not change the meaning or grammatical class of the word to which they are added. Rather, what they do is they serve to indicate one tense or number in verbs, or even possession in nouns, degrees in adjectives and adverbs. Let's see where inflection occurs in verbs. You have examples in compute, compute, computed, computing. These are examples of inflectional forms in verbs. Now, what about nouns? You could have them in indicating the possessive form. Book, books, books. And then they could also indicate a case of pronouns. They, them, theirs. They could indicate degree in adjectives, soft, softer, softest. So these are examples of inflectional affixes. Like I said, they do not change the meaning or the grammatical class of the word, all right? They just indicate several things. They could indicate tense, number in verbs, possession, this, and so on. Now let's move on. Now let's talk about derivational affixes. In derivational affixes, what they do is that they affect the grammatical class of the words they attach to, or they even completely change their meanings. And in this case, they can be prefixes or suffixes. The most common prefixes that you will find in to form nouns in academic English are words like, well, affixes like co, sub, and the most common suffixes are shon, ity, er, nes, ism, ment, ant, ship, he, and then ery.